Welcome to the Victorian Small Business Network podcast. I'm Marie Alafacci, the copywriter who doesn't do salesy, and today I'm joined by Vicky Trainer from Websites Which Work. And we're talking about visibility in small business. So welcome, Vicky.
Thank you.
I'd actually really like to know, because you are a visibility specialist, what do you think visibility means in small business?
Well, if a business isn't visible, then how are they going to sell or find their clients? Or how will their clients find them? Visibility to me, to most businesses, is being found online for the things that they sell or the services they offer.
Okay, and so is that SEO? Are we talking SEO or are we talking something else?
Usually SEO. I mean, you can do paid traffic. You can pay Google or you can pay Facebook, Instagram. You can do paid advertising on many platforms. But when you stop paying, you'll become invisible again. Okay. So what I talk about, which is the essence of SEO, is organically visible. So when you type in the service or product that the business offers, you come up in Google or other search engines. Yeah.
Okay. And for me, copywriting is really important, but what do you think copywriting, what effect does it have once they've been seen?
Yeah, so if you're found in Google and the customer clicks through, then they need to feel that they're in the right place. So the words that they read should resonate with them, and there should be ideally a call to action, and that should be, I guess, enticing for them to take that action and click through to do the action that you want them to do, whether that's fill out a contact form, pick up the phone, or whatever that is.
So I think you're right about that copywriting does have to make them want to take that action. And for me, it really is about how it shapes how the business wants to be perceived, and it's how they present themselves. And so it's more than just about being seen. When there's really good copy there, it is showing that you understand the customer. And the thing we all want when people land on our websites is to go, oh, they get me.
Absolutely.
So yes, I found what I was looking for, and now this business is the one that gets me. And that's, I think, what we all want.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about things like Google Map listings, and because you were saying there's, you can get paid reach. What about reviews and how that links with the words that people use on their websites?
Yeah, it's incredible actually. I had a new lead, just a phone call a few weeks ago, and I asked the guy, what did you type into Google to find me? And he just said, well, SEO Melbourne or something like that.
Wow.
And I thought, well, I'm amazed that I came up in Google. And then he said that he read in my listing that he saw, it was in Google Maps, and it was someone who'd left a review for me that said that I was very detailed and authentic or something like that. I can't remember the exact words. And that's why he called me.
Wow.
And that was someone leaving a review for me that obviously, just it could be location specific as well. If I type into Google, looking for a copywriter, even if I don't put near me, I'm going to see results of businesses in the vicinity nearby.
Yep.
So location, the words used in your reviews, and also the number of reviews. And it's really important for businesses to respond to those reviews, good and bad.
Yep.
Especially bad.
Yes.
Because that also, you could, in fact, would be really good to get a copywriter to help with those responses, because they can be tricky and you still want to be on brand. But those two factors, and also in terms of strengthening that location element, you need to be mentioning the locations on your website. It's incredible how many people don't.
Yep.
I've been even seeing paid ads for, say, a fitness studio. I click on them out of interest. Is this near me? And I can't find where the business is based.
Wow.
I'm not going to go to a fitness studio that's 20 k's away. I want something within 5, 10 k's of where I live. And Google knows where I am. But those paid ads are not necessarily always targeted. Organically, it works.
We were talking before this interview about how there used to be the old yellow pages and that big book that we had on our desk. But even that was organised by location. So it's really interesting that when we went to the internet and we became all digital marketers, we forgot that really important element of including your location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And the point that you raised was that in the yellow pages, you would just, where do you go? You start with A, but one thing that you said was now we can see reviews. We can see what people are saying about that business, which is so important as well.
You're just talking about reviews. This is slightly off topic, but I did see it's an American company and it's branded water. I mean, I don't like bottled water personally, but they used 1-star negative reviews. They found those people and they did a blind taste test and said, if you can tell our water from all the others, you'll get a big prize, and if not, they did something horrible to them, like, I don't know, dump them in a vat of paint or something, I can't remember. And not one of the number of people who gave them a 0 or 1-star review could tell the difference.
Yeah.
And so they all got dumped. And they use that as a huge marketing thing. So it's turning that negative review into a positive. Yeah. I don't suggest you do that if you're a small business, but, you know,
and also,
responding is important.
Yes, and that also is a touch point of your Google business profile, which is like a social media platform. Treat it as such. You can put posts on there, and when you respond to a review, it's showing Google and the world that you're an active business.
Yep.
You've not gone dormant. You're, you know, and it's so important to thank your customers for taking the time to write those reviews, because, it is, you know, they do that on their own back. So
true. Yeah.
And I have a client who incentivises his staff to leave reviews. So, you know, they really work hard with the customer and they get incentivised by their boss when they get a review.
Oh,
like
I see,
a monetary
I see.
reward.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if you have a team of people who are servicing the clients, that's a good way to try and get the reviews.
And it's only a simple question at the end, would you mind giving us a review?
Yeah.
Very good.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
When you do a copy audit, what's the first thing you look for in the copy?
Well, similar to what you were saying before, I ask 3 questions. And the first is, am I in the right place? Do I know what they're selling? And is this my solution? And you need to know that like that. And I can usually tell that by looking at their homepage, and depending on whether they've got a sales page or a services page that is the one you land on, I can usually tell that at first glance. And they are the 3 things that you would be surprised that people get wrong. Now, you were just talking about a gym. If you get onto a website and it says we're a gym and we're fantastic, but it's not your solution because it's in Perth, and we're in Melbourne. Yep. How is that going to work? So,
exactly.
And I'm sure you've done the same thing. You get to a website, you click on a link and you look at it and go, what? This can't be right. And you might even back out and check the link, or you look at the URL and you go, no, this is right, but it doesn't say what it says on the tin. So it has to be 100% clear as soon as they land, and you will know the technical term of above the fold. So for those who don't know, it's the screen you see on, say, a desktop. And on a phone, it's really pretty much your headline, your subhead, and maybe a paragraph and an image.
You can't fit much on the phone screen, that's for sure.
Correct. And if that doesn't tell you immediately you're in the right place, they've got what I want, and they're the answer, then it's pretty hard.
I call that the 2-second rule. We used to call it the 5-second rule. You've got to understand the business in that above the fold, like in a couple of seconds. Yep. But now everyone needs everything faster, so we call it 2 seconds now.
Well, it's true. We're all scrolling. We don't even, I mean, is that 2 seconds? You know, who knows? And so once I work that out, then I look at, is it copy? Is it structure? Is a button too hard to see? Or if I click it, am I accidentally clicking on something else? So I look at, after that, I'll work out, is it the words, is it the structure, or is it a technical issue? It takes too long to load. So that's pretty much where I start.
I wouldn't say that many copywriters would actually go that far as to take into consideration the calls to action and, you know.
Oh, you have to, because, you know, the words can't work if if it's not clear what you want them to do, that's the words. But then when you do take that action, if the button doesn't work, well, there's no, that would be like someone fixing your car and saying, fix the engine, your tyres are flat, but don't worry about it.
Yeah,
It's all part of making the vehicle work, or in this case, the website work. Now, tell me, what do you do when you must do site health checks? What do you look at when people say, oh, my SEO is not working?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually, because if the SEO is not working, it's not working because you're not being found. Like, people are not visiting the website, or they're not visiting the website for the right reasons. You could be ranking for terms that you really don't want to rank for. So one of the first things I look for is, how is the website structured? Because are there pages targeting different keywords, or have you got all the pages targeting the same keyword? Because that then is confusing. Which page should be served up in the search engines if they're all similar? It's a technical term for that. It's called cannibalization. And it's one of the most common issues I find with websites when they're not ranking. So if the SEO isn't working, I'd say that people aren't arriving. They're not getting visitors in the first place. And so I would have a look at what traffic they are getting for what keywords. So you can do that through Google Search Console, which used to be called Webmaster Tools. And then really it would come down to, okay, so they probably need a bit of a restructure on the website to channel, the different services, dedicated pages, and or products or categories of products, and work out what keywords associated with those terms, and then add copy. That's one of the biggest things. There's not enough content on the page for it to have any significance in Google compared to competitors, for example. So if you've just got one paragraph on a page, it's not worth having it, really. You may as well put that paragraph on another page and get rid of that page.
Okay.
Yeah. Consolidate your content.
Yeah. It's interesting you were saying before about being noticed for the wrong thing. So what if you're getting good traffic, but people aren't going beyond that? So you're getting people and they're bouncing, or what do you look at when you say there's traffic coming but there's no action? Do you look at copy? Do you look at other structural things?
Yeah. Well, again, what we were talking about before about conversion and placement of the call to action. So I find a lot of where the website's structured, maybe there's just a link and not a button. Now, that doesn't stand out as much. You might think that's a link to another page, not actually a call to action. A button definitely indicates do something, entices you to take action. Yep. So, it's often about the structure, but again, it's about the words, and, perhaps they just don't resonate with the person. And a good part of SEO is the meta title and description. So that's the page title and its description. And no one's going to click through if that doesn't resonate with them. So is that
the little snippet that comes up in the Google search, right?
Yeah. And the page title is a hyperlink, and the description sometimes is, you can program that to say what you want it to be, but Google won't necessarily take what you've written. It might just take a snippet of text for the page. But if it does so, it's probably in your best interest anyway, because that means Google believes that's more relevant to the search inquiry.
Wow, I didn't know that. I thought, those 150 or whatever characters you put in there is what it uses.
No.
Wow.
It can even change the title as well. Yes. So SEOs will always put the keyword in the title and usually in the description as well. But the most important thing is this description going to make someone want to click on my result as opposed to the one above it or below it?
Yep. No, and very true.
Most people won't scroll to page 2. Let me ask you another question. So when you're working with the client-selected SEO keywords, how do you make sure that the copy's optimised for search without making it sound robotic or losing the business's personality?
Well, I always say I write for people first and Google second. And the things that I find sometimes people with the best will in the world think they're doing the right thing and they keyword stuff. So they put one keyword 50 times in a page, and it's not natural. And usually where that's a problem is where someone's written it themselves or they've been advised by an SEO expert that that's what you need to do. And I always say to them, you have to write for people first. Just as that meta description has to make them want to click, people want to read about, for example, a lawyer, knowing that they work with, I don't know, family court issues, or they work with insurance or unfair dismissal or whatever. They want to know what their specialties are, and they want to know, yes, that they're in their area, but they don't want to see family lawyer Craigie Boone, something or other lawyer Craigie Boone. You know, they do not want to see it because it is, you know, you might as well just be looking at a shopping list.
Yeah, agree.
So it needs to say, now lawyers may be regulated, so I'm not really sure 100% what their constraints are. But if we just pick a business that has no constraints on what they're allowed to say, it needs to appeal to the customer who can land on that page and say, oh, I was looking for cabinet maker, Coburg. Here's cabinet makers Coburg. I like the look of that one. Click on it and, oh, look, they do all of these different cabinetry jobs, and they're talking about how I will feel when the cabinetry is done, not we use this plywood and this. I assume if you're a cabinet maker, you were good at your job, but I want to know that you see me and you get me. And yes, you can put in keywords then once you've got it talking 100%. To a human first.
And over the years, Google's algorithm has changed. It's changing all the time, probably every couple of weeks. So even more so in the local maps. But the thing that resonates with what you just said is that it's more about pleasing the customer now than it ever used to be. It used to be able to get away with keyword stuffing, but now Google respects and rewards quality websites that show expertise, authority and trust. And that's how you want to feel when you land on a website, isn't it, as a customer?
Absolutely.
And so I just think if you're right for the customer, you can't really go wrong. And keywords are important, but the copy and the engagement's more important. Well, so important.
Will the keywords get you found?
Yeah.
And then the copy is what keeps them engaged. Yeah. Okay, that's a good balance.
Some clients I've worked with, they shy away from long form content, what we call, there's a lot of content. And I would say, look, long form, there's nothing wrong with long form content, so long as it's structured properly, You might have some links at the top that's like you write down to the bottom of the page, for example. You can add navigation into it, but it's good for search engines and it's good for customers so long as it's structured properly. So
structured properly in what way, other than the links at the top?
Just spacing between paragraphs, short sentences, visual cues, whether that's logos or, photos, images, quotes. Yeah, break up the text.
So you're breaking up the text, you're putting headlines in, bullet points, lots of white space, images. Okay, so it's basically good page design, which you would have in a book.
Yes, and if you need to, for some blog post, it'd be appropriate to put maybe a table of contents at the top, Okay. That's one thing you can do. Yeah.
So what is a long-form content then? What do you call long-form?
I'd say probably anything over 1,200 words or 1,500 words, perhaps, But for a small business, that would be rare to have a page that's much longer than that.
It's a lot of copy. I mean, I'm a writer and I know that 1,200 words is a lot to write for on a topic, unless it is something that you can get your teeth into.
In general, there's sort of, general guide would be 800 words per page. Would you agree? Except for obviously like the contact page or... Yeah.
I usually talk, depending on what the topic is, I write a lot of copy and I write lots of blogs. So I've got a new blog coming out every 3 to 4 weeks. So quite often I keep them quite short because it's one idea and I want to give one idea, one example, and a few other ways of approaching this marketing problem. So I keep mine between 600 and 800 words.
That's reasonable.
But they're short, but there's lots of them. But yes, I think long form copy depends on the industry. Like some technical industries will want really detailed, really long copy, and then I can see a table of contents at the top and links being really useful.
Yeah. And I always say, look to your competitors. What are they doing? You know.
Yeah, true.
True. I always look at several different websites in that industry and look at, you know, how they've structured the sites and, how much content.
And it's not about copying what they do either. It's saying that works for them because of this, and I can take that element of it, but this is how I want to do this.
Exactly.
And also sometimes it shows you what not to do.
Absolutely.
Definitely have seen that in my time.
Yes.
I just want to go back to something you said before about searchability and how do you reach the right people rather than just chasing traffic? And have you ever seen people do that visibility in the wrong way?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, there's a lot of bot traffic out there as well. And,
Bot traffic?
Bot traffic,
okay.
yeah. And I think most business owners would be familiar with receiving that via their contact forms on their website, which can be hard to... well, you can minimise it, but you can't totally get rid of it. So, the traffic that is coming to their website, is it actually local traffic? And you can check that through Google Analytics and also through Google Search Console. So the right people, again, it's about it's about the words on the page, obviously, but writing that really clear meta description and title. And then when the person clicks through, they've got to feel like they're in the right place and there's not a misleading description or title.
Yes, yes. It's not clickbait.
Yeah.
Because people get really annoyed with clickbait in social media, but I think they kind of expect it. But when it comes to websites, they do not want to be clicking on basket weaving classes and find out it's, I don't know, grow your own marijuana plants.
Exactly.
You know.
We don't have bounce rate as a metric anymore since Google Analytics 4 came out. But that when someone does click through on your page result, on your page listing, that is a signal to Google. But if they don't engage with the page, it's another negative signal to Google. So it will affect your rankings in time if people are clicking through and then exiting quickly, so if not spending time on the site.
So if they're not measuring bounce rate, how does Google measure that they haven't, how does it report to you or how does it?
Just page on time,
Time on page.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah.
So it's time on page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one really important thing, which I know, I'm pretty sure I do know you cover when you're working with clients, is the things that, well, to focus on your ideal client. So if you're, for example, I'm trying to think of an example. You are an accountant, for example, and you are really wanting business clients, not individual clients.
Yep.
So you would focus on that on your homepage, and you wouldn't write a meta description. You would write a meta description that sort of meets that target audience, so that when they click through, they're going to see that they're in the right place.
When it comes to searchability, how do you get them to find the right people rather than just chasing traffic? Because I don't know about you, but I've certainly had emails saying, we can get you on the first page of Google. And I think, for what? What are you ranking me for?
Yeah.
So how do you balance that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, you could rank any business for any keyword, really, but is it the right keyword for the business? Yeah, so that comes down to doing your keyword research very diligently, and there are certain keywords that are just informational. People want information, and there's certain keywords that indicates that they actually really they are looking for a service or they're looking for a product, and so there's commercial intent behind that keyword.
Okay.
And there's often a value behind certain keywords as well, which means that people are paying Google to advertise for that term. And if you see ads, that's usually a good indication that there's value in the keyword. So,
really interesting.
yeah. which can make it more competitive, of course, because people have to scroll down past those sponsored ads, to find you. But in time, hopefully, you will.
That's a real. Sorry, no, that's just a really interesting distinction. That the intention behind the keyword. I think that's something we don't often think about. We think about, I am the best copywriter, or I'm the best web developer, or I'm whatever. But what are they looking for? I want to change something. I know I need to do it now. Those are different intentions than I just want to know what makes a good website. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and normally when we do keyword research, we have one targeted keyword per page, but then there's also a lot of supplementary keywords that are in the same, very closely related. And some of those might be informational. That's not the primary keyword that we're targeting.
No.
Usually it's the one that's got commercial intent.
Nice. I like that. Very good.
So let me ask you another question. I love this one. Tone of voice. So how do you use tone of voice and content to make businesses sound trustworthy?
Well, they have to be trustworthy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to work for dodgy brothers.
Yeah.
But I've worked with businesses who have thought like SEO was their problem. And they're getting traffic, but business is bouncing off. And, you know, it's usually to do with clarity and thinking about that ideal client that we were talking about before. So if you phrase something as in, we do this, we are experts in, you're talking about yourself and not talking about the customer. And there's a little copywriting phrase that fails the we test. If your website talks about we, you are not thinking about the customer. So for a start, you have to think about them. You have to forget that your website is about your business, but you have to make it so that they can imagine themselves buying your solution. If you think about an old shop window, if the window in the front has formal wear, both men's and women's, you look at that and go, oh yeah, I need something formal for a wedding. And then you go inside and it's all jeans and T-shirts. You go, what? That's wrong.
Misleading.
Very misleading, but also frustrating because they're not going to trust you next time. So if you see formal wear on the outside and you walk in and there's everything you could imagine in formal wear, and it's engaging, and every single thing you look at physically you pick up and go, oh, that's beautiful, or I wonder if that's in my size. We try to do that with words. You try to you imagine yourself wearing that dress, for example. So we try and do that with words, and instead of saying we're the best house cleaners, we would say something like, imagine coming home to a clean house.
Yeah.
So you're immediately talking about that person. They are imagining the possible outcome. And it doesn't have that disconnect, so you haven't got that trust problem, but it is also going beyond our cleaners have got police checks, etc., which you want them to have anyway. You want you want to know they can know how to clean and that they're not going to steal anything and all of that. You want that. But what you want is something that makes you feel good. So you've got to have those trust factors in there in giving them what it says on the tin, and then using their experiences. What do they hope for? What do they fear? Like, what are they scared of? A cleaner's going to come in and rob me blind, or they're not going to do a good job, or I'm stuck with them forever. Yeah. So you need to get right into their mindset, and it's not manipulation. It is actually being realistic and saying, well, if that were me, what would I want? So it's getting into their mindset.
Excellent. And I love your failing the wee test.
It's not mine, it's not original.
I've heard of WIFM, what's in it for me.
Yes,
WIFM.
yes.
And when I have clients writing their own copy, I also, That's a really good tip. I love that wee one.
Well, that came from the wonderful Kate Toon, who is another SEO person. That's hers. So we're talking about, trust with copy, but from an SEO perspective, how do you show credibility online? And do you have to be in those top 3 results to be successful? Because most of them are sponsored these days, aren't they?
Well, yeah, we don't. We don't include the sponsored ads when we're talking about where you're ranking. That they're outside of the equation. So
good.
But sometimes you'll find on the page, depending on the term that you type into Google, that the maps results are above the organic results. So there may be no sponsored ads, and Google Maps is right at the top. So being in those top 3 of the maps is very important, because most people don't scroll below, or they don't click into the maps and then look at the other results. But being on page 1, yeah, definitely. There's a term in the industry that that's where you bury dead bodies, on page 2 and beyond. Because nobody ever goes there. I mean, I do when I'm doing my research, but generally, if you're not on page 1, you may not be. It's not worth it. But trust is a massive factor nowadays than it ever used to be. And how do we create those trust signals? Well, again, reviews, which people can see from your Google profile. So
and not 10-year-old reviews either.
No, but the number of reviews usually is important. But that's not the only thing that helps you rank in the Google Maps. But if you're ranking organically and you're in the maps, then you've got 2 listings on page 1. That's a really good position to be in. But the trust signals also, once someone lands on the page, could be memberships, associations, qualifications, images of the work that you've done, case studies. I mentioned before, in Google's guidelines talk about expertise, authority and trust. So those elements need to be present, yes. So put some reviews on the homepage.
Yeah.
Put some logos. If you sponsor a local footy team, that's also, it's not just a social, a trust signal, but it's also a locally trusted organisations. You can go to that footy club and ask them about that business if they've been a sponsor, or go to their website and see if there's a reference to that business.
It also shows the business is more than just the, physical location, the bricks and mortar, or the, the individual.
One of the really key factors of trust is the About page, which it's just incredible how many businesses don't have one. And or maybe have one, but it's not in the main navigation menu, so you don't know it's there.
Seriously, people don't put it on. Oh my goodness,
it's rare, but generally they do have one. It's in the navigation. But when you go to that page, you want to know about the business. Like, why are they? Who are they? If it's a faceless business, there's no mention of the owner or the team or, the reason, the why behind that business. Doesn't make you want to work with them, not usually.
I love a good About page. I mean, About pages they're the second most visited page, as you would probably know. And so once they've said, I'm looking for, let's say, a web designer, web developer, Vicky comes up, Websites Which Work comes up, then they go onto your website, they look and they see your work, and then they're going to go to your About page and say, who is this person? Do I connect with them? I'm all about, and maybe it's because I work with a lot of technical people, but they're very smart and they want to show their qualifications. And so they talk in jargon. And I'm all about, don't talk down to your people, but don't bamboozle them with jargon. Don't make me feel stupid. If I get on an About page and it's all quantifying,
there's other pages to do that. There's
exactly.
Other pages you can do that on.
The About page should be, this is our why. I'm a photographer because my grandma gave me a box brownie when I was 10, which is an old camera. Or I'm a copywriter because words have always been the way I've got out of trouble. Whatever. Something personal and something, if you don't want to give away too much about yourself, but something that just shows that you're human beings. The team relaxing like this at a barbecue or something.
One of my bugbears, actually, Marie, you might relate, When you're reading a website copy and it says, we do this, we do that, we, you get to the about page and it's I, or is it we,
Which is it?
When I'm on the about page, am I going to be working with an individual or am I going to be working with a team? So I say to clients, and I don't know if this is the right thing, if it's just you, then use I, and if you are a team, then use we.
Oh, I totally agree.
And explain who the we is.
Yes.
And that's the perfect place to do it on the about page, like talk about your team.
Yeah, no, I think that's real. And you can highlight who does what in the team and who, whose special skill, and you can talk about who is skilled in certain areas. So I am just a sole trader, but I know numbers of businesses that this person does the technical stuff, this person does the design, this person does the planning, and this person does the sales. Yep. And so you should have the team there. Yeah. And yes, I totally agree with that. It should be I, if it is just you, and we, and then show us who they are.
And maybe later, if you are just an individual and you become a sole trader, and you are a sole trader, but later on you have a team, you can always update it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just think it's good authenticity to be honest, really. So when you write case studies, Marie, for your clients, how do you make them engaging rather than boring?
Well, I usually try to make them as relatable as possible. I could talk about all the technical details of let's say it's a construction business, I could talk about all the details of that, et cetera, and that's fine, but I think that comes when they've actually signed on with you to understand specifications and details. But I'd rather talk about the fact that you built a development that had 150 homes and a shopping centre and a plaza and a cinema and a medical centre, because people can imagine that, so you need to make it sort of relatable. And in my own business, I use real examples. So there's a case study I use where I talk about an occupational therapist who had a home and an about page that were okay, and they were getting people clicking through, but there were no appointments being made, or not many. And so I looked at it and I went, oh, it's the classic case of jargon and using the technical terms from the point of view of the practitioner and not what the outcomes are for the customer, for the client, and a lot of structural stuff. So in that, I've used a concrete example. So if that were a case study I were writing for a client, I would say, okay, well, this was the problem. This is what they wanted to achieve. This is what we did, and this was the outcome. And I try and make the outcome as relatable as possible. But because, yes, it's okay to say we had a 15% increase in this and a whatever, and our structure didn't fall down. That's all fine. But what was the outcome? The person wanted to leave a legacy for they have sufficient wealth and land, and they wanted to leave a legacy that left the world a better place than they found it. So that's a bit of the story of what that person did for that client.
That's great. I wish I could have you work on all my client websites.
Well, it can be arranged. Now, a lot of small businesses think that once they've done the website, it's done. But what role does SEO and more copy play in keeping the site visible and keeping that visibility high?
When I build websites with the help of my team, we build in the SEO. So it can rank quite quickly, especially locally. But if a client comes to me and the website's been built by another developer, there's no SEO, then obviously we have to work on that first. So you've optimised all the pages, you've done all the on-page stuff. There's a lot of off-page stuff that you can do too, which I'll talk about in a minute. But also adding content is important, but not if it's not meaningful. Yeah. So I think a lot of small businesses think, I've got to have a blog and I've got a blog. And maybe, let's say you're a dentist, for example. What do you blog about? I mean, I always say to my clients, or for myself, I look at other websites in the industry. Do they have a blog page? How many blogs? How often are they adding a blog? And is it meaningful? Like, is it helping people? If it's not, it's not worth it. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah, and nobody wants a stale, old, boring 3 years old blog.
So I would say that it's more important to add case studies or portfolio. That's fresh content, as it's more meaningful. Just really put some thought into it and make a plan. And have a look at some other websites in that industry and see what they're doing. And
if a small business owner can only do one thing to boost their visibility with their SEO, what would that be? What would you suggest?
Well, I'd put your efforts into the homepage because it is the most visited page, and implement all the things that we've talked about, that above the fold call to action and clear statement that resonates within 1 to 2 seconds and says exactly what you do, who you serve, where you are, if you can. You can always add a second sentence underneath. Don't crowd the space. Leave some space for balance. Just format that page really well. And repeat the call to action, because once the person scrolled down, they still need to be able to contact you or take the action that you want them to do. And the other thing is, it's very easy to focus on your off-page presence. So where is your business listed online? Where are your competitors listed online? Where can you be listed where your competitors are, where you're not already listed?
So directories. And,
So, I mean, if you Google a business name, you could Google your competitor's business name or just a similar business in another city. Where are they listed? Well, you'll probably see a LinkedIn profile come up. You can see an Instagram page, a Facebook page. There may be, even yellow pages online. But those all do link back to your profile. So your website is kind of an entity, and lots of other things link into it.
It's a bit of a hub.
Yes. And then, another thing of being visible is doing things like this.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so get visible. Get on a podcast. If someone could fix one copywriting issue to help with visibility, what could they do?
I would say forget about we and think about you. And even if the simplest thing you do is to go through your homepage and every reference to we or I, take it out and say, how can I reframe that so it reflects my ideal customer? So cross out the we's and I's and put you.
Very good advice.
Best thing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching this VSBN Small Business Podcast. If you enjoyed this, why not subscribe? We have many, many more fantastic podcasts for your viewing pleasure. And you can find more details about Vicky from Website Switchwork and myself, Marie, in the description underneath.